Good morning, children. Today we are going to have a look on chapter 6, tissues, and under that also we are specifically going to discuss about plant tissue. So before proceeding, I would like to tell you what are tissues. Tissues are the aggregates of cells. They are the combination of cells which are similar in the structure and function. So let's discuss about the plant tissue. Plant tissue is further divided into two types, meristematic and permanent. Meristematic tissues are those plant tissues which keep on dividing throughout their life. There are further three types of meristematic tissues: apical meristematic tissue, intercalary meristematic tissue, and lateral meristematic tissue. Apical meristematic tissue is the meristematic tissue which is present on the root and the shoot tips. So basically this classification is on the basis of location of the meristematic tissue. So the meristematic tissue which is present on the root tips or shoot tips, that is called as apical meristematic tissue. And it is responsible for the primary growth of the plant, that is increasing the length of the plant. Coming down to the intercalary meristematic tissue. Children, you can see over here in the diagram that intercalary meristematic tissue is present in the internodal region of the plant. What is the internodal region? See, the nodes are the region from where the leaves come out, and the region between two nodes is called as internode. So this intercalary meristematic tissue is present in the internodal region, and it is also responsible for the primary growth of the plant. It will give rise to the leaf, it will increase the size of the petiole. Likewise, so intercalary meristematic tissue also responsible for the primary growth of the plant. Now coming down to the lateral meristematic tissue. Lateral meristematic tissue is present on the sides of the roots as well as stems, and it will help in increasing the girth or the diameter of the plant. So it is responsible for secondary growth of the plant, that is the diameter of the plant. Let's proceed to the permanent tissue. Permanent, as the name itself is telling us, that it is something which is permanent. It has arise from the meristematic tissue only. When this meristematic tissue loses its capacity to divide, it changes to permanent tissue, and this phenomena is called as cell differentiation. So permanent tissue is further divided into simple permanent and complex permanent tissue. And now taking the simple one. Simple permanent tissue is further divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Parenchymatous simple permanent tissue are those cells which are living. They can perform various functions like they can store food, they can provide buoyancy to the plant, and sometimes they can also perform the photosynthetic function. Such kind of parenchyma is called as chlorenchyma, as the word itself indicates. Chlorine is a word associated with chlorophyll. So the parenchymatous cell which contain chlorophyll are called as chlorenchyma. And another type is also there which is called as arenchyma. Arenchymatous cells have bigger intercellular spaces in between them, and because of this reason they provide buoyancy to the plants, mainly present in the aquatic plants. Come down to collenchyma. Collenchymatous tissues are those tissues which make the plant flexible. They are more or less present in the leaves, young shoots. That's why they make the plant flexible. You might have noticed whenever there are wind storms, the trees do not, the stem, branches do not break off. Why? Because this collenchymatous tissue is present in their stems. It is present in the leaves, which make them flexible and side by side provide the mechanical strength also. Come down to the sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is the dead tissue. It is the permanent tissue which makes the plant parts dead. It is further or of two types, sclerenchyma fibers and sclerenchyma sclerates. Fibers, as you know, must be elongated cells, and sclerates are circular or globular stone cells. Now coming down to the complex plant tissue. Complex permanent tissue is further divided into xylem and phloem. This xylem is responsible for the conduction of water, and phloem is concerned with the conduction of food in the plant body. Xylem, which is responsible for the conduction of water throughout the plant, is further divided into four subtypes: tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fiber. These are the components of the xylem. So xylem basically is responsible for conduction of water throughout the plant body, and the flow throughout the xylem will be unidirectional. That is, water will always be transported. It will be sucked by the roots, and from roots it will be taken up to the plant body. Whereas the conduction of the food through phloem is a bidirectional process. Because food need to be directed to the roots also, it need to be reached to the leaves as well as fruits also. So the process of conduction of food will be bidirectional, and the different components of phloem are sieve components, which are further divided into sieve tubes and sieve plates, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Children, one more thing to keep in mind: all the xylem components are dead except for xylem parenchyma, which is living, and most of the phloem components are living except for phloem fibers. So you need to have a look on this flow chart so that you could easily understand the plant tissue. Thank you. Chalo, meeting here. Meeting.
इसको देखो क्या आ गया
बंद कर दो। तुम्हारा ना वो आ रहा था, तुम्हारे पावर खत्म होने वाली है फोन की।